Seeing how many people enjoyed the Martian Manhunter first villain video, I decided to do another one to keep this series going, in which we are going to be looking at Green Arrow. Now, over the past couple of years, Green Arrow's popularity has soared because of the CW show, and whether or not that makes the character more popular in the sense that people are interested in him, that's statistics that I'm sure you could look at. However, the popularity is simply put that people now know about him. This story is obviously going to take place where Oliver is now Green Arrow, and he has been for at least 8 months to about a year. However, we do have to start back at his origin a little bit and keep it within the guidelines of where the character has usually tended to be created as a socialite. He's a young adult who frivolously spends his parents' money, parties all the time, includes sex and drugs and all of those bad habits when you take it way too far, which is exactly what he does. And it leaves his parents extremely worried for him. Everything his entire life has basically been handed down to him. He never takes anything seriously, and all he wants to have is immature and reckless fun. What happens is one early evening, he spent the entire day and afternoon day drinking and partying and getting as wasted as possible, but still decides to take one of the family supercars and go for a drive to pick up something meaningless, something that he could get one of his butlers or maids to go pick up themselves. On his way out, driving through the suburbs of his city, he ends up crashing the car into a wall of a convenience store, horribly ruining the car and the building itself, knocking him out. And later on, when he wakes up, he pretty much has no recollection of anything that happened. Soon after this, his father takes no more chances to learn some discipline and to learn some valuable life skills. He sends him to an oil rig in the middle of an ocean owned by Queen Industries, where he learns how to work and live as a regular citizen. The rest is history. After this, the rig gets attacked by terrorists, and he finds himself on an island with just a bow and arrow, where he needs to learn to survive for the next year. When he returns to Star City, not many years have passed, maybe 3 years at most, from the time he went to go work on the oil rig to being stranded on the island to returning. But he does realize a lot of things like his father, who went to go search for him after the terrorist incident, never returned, and the family has no idea what happened to Robert Queen. His mother, trying to keep the finances of Queen Industries stable ever since the disappearance of his father, and it's been hard work trying to do so. His friend Tommy, no longer living in that lavish, ignorant lifestyle they were once living only a couple of years ago. Even his ex-girlfriend, Sandra Hawk, who once used to party with them all the time, she's a relatively stable woman who has a great job and now a child. Things have really changed in the city and the people he used to call friends. Over the past several months, or at least a year now, of being Green Arrow, he has tried to be the backbone of his family and of Queen Industries, trying to bring them back on top, trying to make the company stable and viable. Queen Industries has been experiencing a lot of raids on some of their facilities around the city, and in return, their stocks plummeting due to investors losing trust, patience, and money. Oliver, having resources to analyze his city from CCTV footage or any other resource that the company he personally owns would offer him, he has first looks at situations going on within his own facilities to notice that the people raiding his locations, they don't seem to be overly skilled. They're just attacking the right places at the right times where there's no authorities nearby, and they're getting in quick and easy. Until one moment, he realizes at one of the most recent raids, someone who looks very different from your ordinary thug. This particular character is wearing kind of a stealth jumpsuit outfit, black trench coat, combat boots, armed to the teeth, if you could even see their teeth, and they have 2 circles on their face forming a spiral. Yes, this villain is Onomatopoeia. And to avoid having to say that name over and over again, I'm going to regulate it to Ono. So over the cammed footage, he sees Ono grab a clipboard that the character clearly takes interest in. So Oliver decides to go to that location to find the clipboard he was looking at. When finding the clipboard, he realizes it's information giving the date of shipping containers coming in through the harbor of equipment being delivered to Queen Industries locations around the city. Waiting for that day to come, Green Arrow shows up and lurks on this shipping container boat and waits for an attack, which is exactly what happens. Ono has maybe this time a little more skilled men than just regular thugs rappel from a bridge leading into Star City. They drop down, start their assault, incapacitate or kill any guard protecting this equipment. There to save the day and to make sure no one gets away with any equipment is Green Arrow, assisting from the top of the containers, sniping and shooting anyone he can with his laser eye focus. Suddenly, he runs into Ono, where the two of them have a very brief but entertaining fight. But at the end of it, maybe separated by 10 or 15 feet, Green Arrow primes an arrow, aims it at Ono, and asks, "Who are you and what do you want?" Ono gently puts his weapons back in his holster, steps on the edge of the boat, and since he can only speak in noises, he makes the noise of a car driving and a car crashing. He jumps off the side of the boat. Green Arrow runs over to the side to see if he can find him, and Ono is gone. Immediately, Green Arrow realizes he's not dealing with any ordinary criminal thief. He's dealing with something a little more mysterious here. He doesn't understand the full picture, of course, but he will. So suddenly after this, the hostile takeover and thievery of Queen Industries stops. Things relatively go back to normal, and even the company's stock rises. It hasn't been this profitable of a company in the past 2 to 3 years, which is a great sign for him, his mother, and the people who work for him, but it is very odd nonetheless. Where things start to get very concerning for Oliver is what transpires. All of his close family and friends start to get injured and harmed. John Diggle gets hospitalized. Tommy Merlin gets hospitalized. As he tries to dig up as much information of Ono as he can, he literally can't find anything. This person has cropped up out of nowhere. There's no real name of him. There's no fingerprints. There's no form of DNA. There's not even an idea of who this person looks like behind the mask. So on a particular night, Oliver and his mother Moira are both at Queen Industries handling business, and Moira decides to go home. Soon after, Oliver actually clues in that the incidents that have left John and Tommy in the hospital involved car accidents that happened in the early evening. He suits up as quickly as possible as his Green Arrow attire, and he makes his way across rooftops as fast as he can to reach his mother in her limo heading home. As he makes his way, he realizes that his mother's limo has been crashed. He checks the car. She's still inside, unconscious, but relatively safe, but suddenly starts getting shot at, and this is where you would have a full-out brawl between Green Arrow and Ono. Green Arrow throughout this fight would still attempt to talk to Ono, trying to get information out of him of why he's doing this, and Ono, what sounds to be mockery really isn't. It's how he speaks. He continues to just make noises, bang, pop, pew pew, just random things. Noticing he is a much better fighter than what he's experienced in the past, the fight does come to a standstill. Ono, disarmed of his guns, backflips onto the hood of the crashed car, staring at Moira Queen through the window, then looking back at Green Arrow. Pulling some sort of equipment from his back pocket and holding it up, he attempts to utilize sounds that he has heard to say the name of Oliver Queen to the best of his abilities. He presses the button on this piece of equipment and mysteriously vanishes, almost like a stealth technology. This person knows his secret identity. Bringing his mother to the hospital and attempting to leave before she wakes up and sees this Green Arrow figure leaving through the window, he's caught off guard by her saying, "Oliver, is that you?" She was in and out of consciousness as Anno and Oliver were fighting earlier, and she has now put together that the Green Arrow is indeed her son. They have a conversation with one another in which she does tell him she loves him and she's proud of him for how much of a difference he has made in the city, but also fears for his life, considering people like this Anno person would go so far just to hurt him and the ones he loves. After this conversation, he leaves to let his mother rest so that he can track down Anno once and for all and put a stop to the threats that face his friends and his family. But the threat comes to him before he can find it. He is contacted by Anno to go to a very specific location. When Green Arrow arrives, he realizes that this scene is very familiar to him. The car he drove that he got into an accident in is the one smashed up against the side of this building wall, destroyed, wheels off its hinges. And that building wall he's looking at is the same building wall he slightly remembers crashing into, the side of a convenience store. The car is the same color, the exact same make, but off to the distance, he notices another vehicle flipped over on its top, something he doesn't remember from last time. Looking up at the top of the building, he spots Anno, who points to the other car and starts making noises of ah, as if people are screaming. Running over to the car, he notices it's Sandra Hawk in the driver's seat, knocked out, with a baby in the back, screaming and crying. Attempting to rip the doors off the hinges to save the mother and the child, gunshots hit the car from behind him, and he looks back and aims at Anno. And Anno, in a very unsettling way, starts to make noises and recreate a scene that happened on the day Oliver Queen drove drunk into the side of a wall. When driving at the speed he was going, his wheel hit a curb, smashing up into the side of the building. Pieces of his car flew off, sharp pieces as well. As another car was coming down the other side of the road, one of the front tires nicked some of the sharp pieces from Oliver's car, where they lost control, swerved off the road, and toppled many times over. Inside of this car, there was a man, woman, and child. The man made it out. The woman and the child died on impact. That man who survived is now Onomatopoeia. This is revenge for his wife and his child. Now, there's not really much understanding here on why Anno speaks the way he does. Oliver, in the moment, is somewhat capable of deducing that maybe the accident, he actually hit his head one too many times and got some form of brain damage where he can no longer speak normally, but he has no guarantee that that is what happened. But that's not even the most important part about this. The reason why Anno has attacked Sandra and her child is because Anno was capable of finding out that the child in the backseat of that car is actually Oliver Queen's love child with Sandra. Going after his company was only a matter of getting his attention. Going after people he loves, his friends, his family, is really what he wanted to bring attention to. Anno places a timed bomb on the car as he fights Green Arrow. It's brutal, it's bloody, and it's rough. This is not an easy fight whatsoever. And there's only about 3 minutes to get Sandra and Connor out of the car before the bomb blows. Trying to apologize to Anno throughout the fight is not going to work at all. Anno has set his mind on killing the people that Green Arrow loves, and then even potentially killing him after this fight. However, throughout the fight, Green Arrow does manage to get the upper hand, and since he can't disarm the bomb, bomb, he does need to get Sandra and Connor from the car as quickly as possible. Using some of his Green Arrow equipment, he's capable of doing so and dragging them out just in time as the car blows up. Ono disappears, however, and leaves behind some sort of evidence or calling card to make it known to Oliver Queen that he will be back, and when he does return, he will finish the job. As the story comes to an end, Oliver will also find out that on the night of the accident, his father basically covered everything up in the media. That way, Oliver would never know the truth of what happened that night and didn't want that to play on his conscience. He wanted Oliver to have a fresh start. And ever since finding that out, Oliver basically vows to never touch alcohol again in his life, to stand up for people as much as he possibly can, and to even give money to charities that deal with people who lose families and loved ones. But this does not matter for Ono. The damage has already been done, and one day he will get a form of his revenge. So there you go, guys. That was a take and a story on who could or should be Green Arrow's very first villain. So what did you guys think of the story? Let me know in the comments below, and let me know what villain you would have gone with if you made a story on Green Arrow's very first villain. But that is all I have for you on this one, everyone. So I hope you all enjoyed the video, and until next time, I will talk to you all very soon.